which is going to be season 3, I feel like. And I still liked it. I feel like the cast did an amazing job. Especially, I feel like I have to point out Amond, and he's played by Ewan Mitchell, because every time he's on screen, he's absolutely terrifying to me. The way the actor just presents the character, the way he talks, the way he looks at people, it's just absolutely terrifying to me. He has done an amazing job, truly. I think they changed a couple of things about his character in the show versus in the books. Because I feel like in the show he's more evil and cunning than in the books. Same with David, I feel like. But in a way it makes the story more compelling, so I'm not really complaining. Plus, I've not finished the book Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin yet, so it's not like I can really compare it. But I'm going to finish it soon, because there is an airplane, okay? Because I like the Targaryen history much more than the original story. I feel like the original story with Sansa and Jon Snow, it's good obviously, but I feel like first of all the ending of the show was rushed 100%, and the ending of the book series is the exact opposite, right? At this point I feel like George R.R. Martin is not going to finish it, and somebody else will have to step in after he will pass away to finish the story with his ideas. I feel like that's how it's going to be, and you might argue it won't be the same. I don't know, but I feel like the way he written the story, he himself doesn't know what he's going to do about the original characters. He cannot see the solution. That's just my opinion, of course. I don't know. The Fire and Blood books, they're written differently because they're written like history books, so it's not exactly my cup of tea, but I still find the history much more intriguing compared to the original story. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent here about the books. I'm not even talking about the show. But the show in itself was great. Oh, also I wanted to talk about this scene with Lord Tully and the River Lords and Damon. Amazing scene. I think one of my favorite scenes of the show. He has done an amazing job. Okay. No, I liked it. I still like the show, and also, by the way, I'm noticing that the sound sounds a little bit weird today, and I hope that it's just my earphones and not the microphone itself. I'll switch to earphones. Let's see. Okay, I think it was just my earphones, but the microphone has been acting up too, so anyways, let's move on from the House of the Dragon. I feel like I need to talk more about the show, but there's not much for me to say without spoilers. Obviously, I'm Team Black, but I know how it ends. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. Next show, or actually, wait, no. I'll talk about a movie that I've watched recently in the cinema, and I don't usually go to the cinema. I go twice a year max, that's it. But I went to watch Deadpool and Wolverine, the new movie. Now, I'll tell you a short story that occurred before the movie. So I went with my friend and she bought the limited edition god, no, I don't need it, right? Plus, I wanted to buy this like limited edition caramel popcorn, which you could not put into the set with the action figure. So I was just like, I'm not gonna get it. I bought my caramel popcorn that was supposed to be big, but actually ended up being like this small. And I bought Coca-Cola. Okay, cool. Now, as we're waiting for the movie, I'm like, actually, I kind of want more popcorn because it was so small. Like, first of all, it was expensive. I thought it would be like a regular size. Nope. And I was like, I'm going back. I'm going to buy the popcorn. Guess what happened? I ended up buying the popcorn and another cola with the action figure. So now I had 2 popcorns just for me, 2 big ones, and 2 colas, which ended up being like 1.5 liters. And I had all of that for 2-hour movie. I messed up big time. But I do have the action figure. And I gave a bit of the caramel popcorn to my friend, so it was fine. But anyways, the movie in itself, it was good. I liked it. You might disagree with me on this, but I felt like I'm not watching the characters anymore, but I'm watching the actors playing themselves, and I don't know how I feel about it, because first of all, like, I'm watching Deadpool and Wolverine, right? Why am I leaving the cinema knowing about Ryan Reynolds' wife and Hugh Jackman's divorce? Like, that's not part of the story at all. And I feel like it just disrupted the storyline so much, because you could see, like, even the fact that Fox sold the rights to the movies, like, I don't need to know that. Like, I'm here for the movie, and I'm sorry, but like, what does Hugh Jackman's divorce have to do with the Wolverine? I don't. Why is it in the movie? It's not part of the character storyline, for God's sake. Yeah, like, I feel like it was unnecessary. It disrupted the movie. I'm here to watch superheroes. I don't need to know about, like, personal life of the actors. That's why I felt like I'm not watching the characters but the actors, because Deadpool has a girlfriend that leaves him, right? Like, they break up. So are you talking about Blake Lively? Like, anyways, yeah, it was just, okay, you might disagree with me on this, and I get that the actors are now bigger than the actual movies, right? Like, their names are bigger than the movies, but let's not mix the two. Yeah. Okay. Next. it doesn't have a good ending, right? Like, you know, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. But the two characters do not end up together, and I really enjoyed the movie. I feel like the epilogue was just brilliantly done because the two characters don't even speak to each other. Everything is just shown on screen, and it shows this fantasy of what could have been if the characters made different decisions in life. And I feel like it's a very realistic ending, which is what makes it like so heartbreaking. And I was like, I'm not going to cry. I already watched the epilogue on social media like a couple of times, so I was like, I'm not going to cry. When I know what's going to happen, I did. Yeah, a very well done movie, I feel like. Okay, next. A show on Netflix, Shadow and Bone. I've watched season 2. So, I've read the original trilogy years ago, and I never read Six of Crows. I'm actually just reading it now. In the show, they mixed the plots together a little bit, and season 3 was supposed to be the continuation of the Six of Crows duology, but they cancelled it. There will not be any season 3, which is just sad because I feel like, first of all, the actors did an amazing job, and you could see how excited they were about the show, like genuinely excited, but they cancelled it. Unfortunately, I don't know why. I mean, Netflix cancels shows left and right, and it's a shame because I feel like the show was loved. It already had a pre-existing fan base that was huge. Like, the amount of times I've heard about the Six of Crows duology, like, it has a big fan base, and I feel like they just kind of messed it up a little bit. They changed things in the show a bit too much as well, which is okay if it makes sense for the show, but then they cancelled it anyway. So if you don't know what it is, it's a fantasy show. It follows, well, we start off with Alina, which ends up having these unusual powers, and then the main villain is played by Ben Barnes, which is the Darkling. They've actually aged him up in the show, because I remember in the books he looked the same age as Alina. And first of all, okay, I don't know what was wrong with me when I was reading the books, but I remember I would have chosen the Darkling. I would not go for the other character personally. They kind of aged him up in the show, and it's kind of different in the show, I feel like. But in the books, I don't know, like, I usually don't root for the villains, but in this case I did. It's a good show still, but again, it's cancelled, so. And by the way, as I was watching the show, I was like, oh, it looks like they're going to, like, finish with season 2, because it felt like they're wrapping things up very quickly. So I thought that they knew that there won't be any season 3, but they did. Or they thought that there would be season 3, but there is not. So now I'm reading the Six of Crows duology finally, after so many years. I'm probably going to vlog the experience and post it on my other channel, which probably not a lot of you know that I have a book channel with my regular voice, not ASMR. I need to post more on that channel, definitely. Because I haven't posted anything in like years. Okay, so, next. This bloody movie. So, my friend told me that I should watch The Idea of You. It's a movie on Prime. Amazon Prime, I should say. And Okay. I think this is also based on a book, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like it's the main characters are based on like One Direction. So it's basically like a fan fiction to One Direction. That's how it seemed like to me, but I don't know if it's true or not. Basically, it's about a 40-year-old woman that meets a young pop star, and they start a relationship. Now, okay, there's this scene in the very beginning that is just so ridiculous, because the way they end up meeting is she brings her daughter to this fan sign meet and greet, basically, and the main character, has to find a toilet. So she goes randomly into the trailer park and randomly opens a trailer and finds the main character that I have no idea what his name was. I'll just name him Harry Styles. So she meets Harry Styles in the trailer and she's like, oh, I'm just going to use the toilet. What? It makes me mad when there is a show or a book and something completely ridiculous and completely not logical has to happen in order for the plot to start or to progress. It's my biggest pet peeve from a writing perspective. This is a complete faux pas. Like, you can't do that. You cannot make characters all of a sudden act like they're completely dumb. So anyways, so she meets him in the trailer, and then this scene gets even funnier because he's like, oh, because as she on her way out, he's like, actually, do you want to hang out? And she's like, for like 2 seconds, and then she slams the door shut of the trailer. And then it gets worse because he starts to he dedicates a song to her on this festival, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. I feel like you can see my face. It's just like okay. And by the way, the whole singing scene, it's ridiculous. This is the scene that I was also sending to my friend, because I was like, if I suffer, you will suffer with me through this. And then it has like explicit scenes. I didn't know this would be the case. Long story short, this movie only works because Anne Hathaway was casted as the main character. That's it. Okay, last but not least, this is also a show on Netflix, and it's called The 8 Show, and it's a Korean drama. I would say very similar to Squid Game, as in they're all put into one place and they're playing a game to win some money. And at first I thought, oh, it's just going to be pretty tame, it's fine. No, absolutely not. If you have found Squid Game disturbing to watch, Squid Game has nothing on this show. It's so bad at some point, because I have to warn you, just so you would know what you're getting yourself into, because I didn't. And then I was just watching it because I wanted to see what happens in the end, but there's just a lot of torture. Like, one episode is just, it's horrible, but I would still recommend it. I feel like it was brilliantly done. It's very dark. It's a criticism of society and social class, and it's a very well done show. Just one thing though, like, each character feels very one-dimensional, because represent like one social class. And it's very, very disturbing towards the end. But I liked it. I feel like I cannot really say much because I feel like it's better if you just walk into the show not really knowing what to expect. But again, it's very disturbing towards the end. Like it was too much. I think I was even like skipping scenes, and usually I suffer through everything, but this was too much. But still very well done. It's based on a webtoon which I wanted to read because I feel like I should practice my Korean bit more, especially reading. It's just still a bit too difficult. I think the webtoon is called like Money Pie or something, and there are 3 parts. And I feel like it just gets worse and worse. Each season it progresses. I don't know if there will be season 2 to this show. They technically still have source material, but I feel like it stands on its own well. Okay, so that was it for today's video. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. There will be one more video this week, so stay tuned. And yeah, that's it.